I remember the day I met Vanessa like it was yesterday. It was a crisp, sunny afternoon in early April, and I had just finished a long week at work. To unwind, I decided to treat myself to a coffee at my favorite cafe, the Daily Grind, a quaint little spot in downtown New York with the best espresso in the city. The cafe was always bustling with people, artists, writers, business professionals, all seeking their caffeine fix and a moment of respite from the city's relentless pace. As I walked in, the familiar aroma of freshly ground coffee beans enveloped me, instantly lifting my spirits. I glanced around, looking for a place to sit, when my eyes landed on a woman sitting by the window. She had long chestnut hair cascading over her shoulders, and her sharp green eyes were focused intently on a book. Her presence was magnetic, and I found myself unable to look away. Gathering my courage, I approached the counter, ordered my usual cappuccino, and slowly made my way over to her table. My heart pounded in my chest as I rehearsed what I might say. When I reached her, I cleared my throat and managed a friendly smile. "Hi there, is this seat taken?" I asked, trying to sound as casual as possible. She looked up from her book, her eyes locking onto mine. For a moment, I felt like I was under a spotlight. Then, to my relief, she smiled back, a hint of curiosity in her gaze. "No, it's not. Go ahead," she said, closing her book and setting it aside. I sat down, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. "I'm Jake," I introduced myself, extending my hand. "Vanessa," she replied, shaking my hand with a firm grip. Her voice was smooth and confident, matching her poised demeanor. We started with small talk, the usual topics like the weather, the book she was reading, and our favorite spots in the city. Vanessa was witty and articulate, with a sharp sense of humor that kept me on my toes. She told me she was an art curator at a gallery in Chelsea, a job that she described with a passion that was infectious. I found myself hanging on her every word, completely captivated. As we talked, I noticed little details about her. The way she twirled a lock of hair around her finger when she was thinking, the delicate silver bracelet on her wrist that caught the sunlight just right, and the melodic way she laughed that made me want to keep the conversation going forever. It was as if the rest of the cafe faded away, leaving just the two of us in our own little world. Before I knew it, an hour had passed. My cappuccino was long gone, and I was surprised at how quickly time had flown by. Feeling a surge of boldness, I decided to take a chance. "Vanessa, I've really enjoyed talking with you. Would you like to grab dinner sometime?" I asked, hoping my voice didn't betray my nervousness. She tilted her head slightly as if considering my proposal, then smiled. "I'd like that, Jake. Here, let me give you my number." She scribbled her number on a napkin and handed it to me. My heart soared as I took it, a sense of accomplishment washing over me. We exchanged a few more pleasantries, then parted ways with the promise of meeting again soon. Walking out of the cafe, I felt an exhilarating mix of emotions. Meeting Vanessa had been unexpected and thrilling. Little did I know that chance encounter would set off a chain of events that would change my life in ways I couldn't have imagined. For now, I was just looking forward to our next date, already planning where I might take her to keep the excitement alive. Our first date was at a rooftop restaurant called The Skylight, known for its panoramic views of the New York City skyline. I wanted to impress Vanessa, and I knew this place would do the trick. I arrived early to make sure everything was perfect. The sun was just beginning to set, casting a warm, golden glow over the city, and the ambiance was magical. Vanessa arrived right on time, looking stunning in a sleek black dress that highlighted her elegant figure. Her hair was styled in loose waves, and she wore a bold red lipstick that added a touch of drama to her already striking appearance. As she walked towards me, I felt a rush of excitement and nerves. "Wow, you look amazing," I said, unable to hide my admiration. "Thank you, Jake. You clean up pretty well yourself," she replied with a playful smile. We were seated at a table with a perfect view of the skyline. As we perused the menu, the conversation flowed effortlessly. Vanessa was as engaging and charming as I remembered, her wit and intelligence making every topic interesting. We talked about our favorite books, our most memorable travel experiences, and our aspirations for the future. The food was exquisite, each dish a work of art. We shared appetizers, savoring the flavors and enjoying each other's company. Vanessa had a knack for making even the simplest moments feel special. She told stories about her travels to Europe, her adventures in Paris and Rome, and the art exhibitions she had curated. Her passion for her work and life was evident, and it was infectious. After dinner, we moved to the edge of the rooftop to take in the view. The city lights twinkled below us, and the stars began to appear in the night sky. It was a perfect moment, and I could feel a connection between us growing stronger. "Jake, this place is incredible," Vanessa said, leaning on the railing next to me. "Thank you for bringing me here." "I'm glad you like it," I replied, feeling a sense of pride. "I wanted tonight to be special." "It is," she said, looking into my eyes. For a moment, everything else faded away. We stood there in silence, just enjoying the view and each other's presence. Our next few dates were equally exciting. One weekend, we decided to take a spontaneous trip to an amusement park just outside the city. It was a day filled with laughter and thrills. We rode roller coasters, played carnival games, and indulged in cotton candy and funnel cakes. Vanessa's adventurous spirit was contagious, and I found myself letting go and having the time of my life. We also discovered a shared love for exploring new places. We spent our weekends visiting different neighborhoods, trying out new restaurants, and finding hidden gems in the city. One Saturday, we stumbled upon a small, cozy jazz club in Harlem. The intimate setting and soulful music created a perfect atmosphere for a romantic evening. Vanessa surprised me with her knowledge of jazz, and we spent hours listening to the band and talking about our favorite musicians. Through all these adventures, I felt myself falling for Vanessa more and more. She was everything I had ever wanted in a partner: intelligent, beautiful, passionate, and fun. Our relationship felt like a whirlwind romance, full of excitement and endless possibilities. As the weeks went by, we continued to grow closer. We started spending more time together, and our connection deepened. Vanessa introduced me to her friends, and I did the same. We began to learn more about each other's lives, families, and dreams. It was clear that we were becoming an important part of each other's worlds. Then, one evening, as we were walking hand in hand through Central Park, I decided to take the next step. "Vanessa, I know we've only been dating for a month, but I feel a strong connection with you," I began, my heart pounding. "I'd like to make our relationship official, if you're okay with that." She stopped walking and turned to face me, her eyes searching mine. A smile slowly spread across her face. "Jake, I've been feeling the same way. I'd love to make it official." With that, we sealed our commitment with a kiss, under the canopy of trees and the twinkling city lights. It felt like a scene from a movie, perfect and surreal. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a journey that would test me in ways I never anticipated. After our magical evening in Central Park, Vanessa and I officially became a couple. It felt surreal, like something out of a fairy tale. We both had busy schedules, but we made time for each other, often meeting up after work or on weekends to explore the city. Our relationship was a perfect blend of excitement and comfort, and I felt a sense of happiness that I hadn't experienced in a long time. We quickly settled into a routine that worked for us. We would see each other once or twice a week, sometimes more if our schedules allowed. Each time we met, we would plan something new and exciting. One week, we attended a wine tasting event in the heart of the city, savoring different vintages and learning about the art of winemaking. Another week, we took a cooking class together, laughing as we fumbled through making homemade pasta and eventually creating a delicious meal. Vanessa had an insatiable curiosity and a zest for life that I found incredibly attractive. She introduced me to new experiences and encouraged me to step out of my comfort zone. One Saturday, she surprised me with tickets to a rock climbing gym. I had never tried climbing before and was a bit apprehensive, but Vanessa's enthusiasm was contagious. We spent the afternoon challenging ourselves on the various climbing walls, cheering each other on and celebrating our successes. Despite our busy lives, we also cherished the quieter moments together. Some evenings, we would simply stay in and watch movies or binge-watch a new TV series. We'd order takeout from our favorite Thai restaurant and curl up on the couch, enjoying each other's company. These moments of simple, everyday intimacy were just as special as our grand adventures. As our relationship grew, Vanessa opened up more about her life. She told me about her childhood in a small town in upstate New York, her close-knit family, and her journey to becoming an art curator. She had worked hard to get to where she was, and I admired her determination and passion. She shared stories about the artists she had met, the exhibitions she'd curated, and her dreams of one day opening her own gallery. In turn, I shared my own aspirations with her. I told her about my plans to expand my business and my dream of traveling the world. She was supportive and encouraging, always pushing me to aim higher and believe in myself. Her confidence in me made me feel like I could achieve anything. One evening, over dinner at a cozy Italian bistro, I told Vanessa about a family reunion I was planning to attend in California. It was a significant event because I hadn't seen some of my relatives in years, and I was excited to reconnect with them. "Vanessa, I'd love for you to come with me," I said, taking her hand across the table. "I want you to meet my family. They're important to me, and so are you." She squeezed my hand and smiled warmly. "Jake, I'd love to meet your family. It sounds like a wonderful trip." We spent the next few weeks planning our trip to California. I was excited to introduce Vanessa to my family and show her where I had grown up. I felt like we were taking a significant step forward in our relationship, and I was eager to see how she would fit into my family dynamic. However, as the trip approached, Vanessa seemed to become more distant. She was often preoccupied and less enthusiastic about our plans. I chalked it up to her busy work schedule and tried not to let it bother me. I was confident that once we were on our trip, everything would be back to normal. The day before our flight, we spent the evening at Vanessa's apartment, packing and getting ready. She seemed distracted, but I didn't press her about it. I figured she just had a lot on her mind. We talked about our itinerary, the places we wanted to visit, and the relatives I was excited for her to meet. As we sat on her couch, Vanessa turned to me, her expression serious. "Jake, there's something I need to tell you," she said, her voice trembling slightly. I felt a knot form in my stomach. "What is it, Vanessa?" She took a deep breath. "I've been offered a promotion at work. It's an incredible opportunity, but it would mean relocating to Los Angeles." The news hit me like a ton of bricks. "Los Angeles? When did this happen?" "Just recently," she said, looking down. "I didn't know how to tell you. I'm thrilled about the promotion, but I'm also torn because I don't want to leave you." I sat in stunned silence, trying to process what she had just told me. The thought of her moving across the country was devastating. Our relationship had been going so well, and now it felt like everything was about to change. "Vanessa, this is huge. I'm happy for you. But what does this mean for us?" I finally managed to ask. "I don't know," she admitted, tears welling up in her eyes. "I don't want to lose you, Jake, but I also can't turn down this opportunity. It's my dream job." We spent the rest of the evening talking about our options, trying to find a way to make things work. The uncertainty of our future weighed heavily on both of us. As we boarded the plane the next day, I couldn't shake the feeling that our relationship was at a crossroads. The trip to California was bittersweet. Vanessa charmed my family, and they welcomed her with open arms. We had a wonderful time exploring the area and creating new memories. But the looming question of her potential move to Los Angeles cast a shadow over everything. By the time we returned to New York, we still hadn't come to a decision. We were both torn between our love for each other and the opportunities ahead. It felt like our once perfect relationship was slipping through our fingers, and neither of us knew how to stop it. Despite the uncertainty hanging over us, Vanessa and I continued to spend as much time together as possible. We clung to each other, trying to make the most of every moment, knowing that our days together in New York might be numbered. Vanessa's allure only grew stronger in my eyes. Her ambition and drive, combined with her charm and beauty, made her irresistible. However, her growing distance and occasional bouts of evasiveness left me feeling increasingly insecure. Vanessa had a magnetic presence that drew people to her. Everywhere we went, she was the center of attention. Whether we were at a bustling art gallery opening or a quiet dinner party, people gravitated toward her. She had an effortless way of engaging with others, making each person feel special and important. I often found myself standing back, watching her with a mix of pride and admiration. One evening, we attended a charity gala hosted by one of Vanessa's art world connections. The event was held in a grand ballroom, with crystal chandeliers casting a warm glow over the elegantly dressed attendees. Vanessa looked stunning in a floor-length emerald green gown, her hair styled in loose waves that framed her face perfectly. As we walked into the ballroom, all eyes seemed to turn to her. Throughout the night, Vanessa mingled with the guests, effortlessly moving from one conversation to the next. She introduced me to influential artists, collectors, and curators, always making sure to include me in the discussions. However, I couldn't shake the feeling of being overshadowed by her dazzling presence. As much as I admired her, I also felt a pang of jealousy seeing how easily she captivated everyone around her. At one point during the evening, Vanessa excused herself to speak with a prominent gallery owner. I watched her from a distance, noticing how animated and enthusiastic she was. She had a way of making every interaction feel like the most important moment in the world. I couldn't help but feel a little out of place, wondering if I would ever truly fit into her glamorous world. After the gala, we took a cab back to Vanessa's apartment. The city lights blurred outside the window as we rode in silence, the weight of our uncertain future pressing down on us. Once we arrived, we settled on her couch, both lost in our thoughts. "Jake, I know this situation is hard," Vanessa said softly, breaking the silence. "I wish things were simpler." "I do too," I replied, reaching for her hand. "I just don't know what the right answer is. I want to support you, but the thought of you moving to LA is killing me." She squeezed my hand, her eyes filled with a mix of sadness and determination. "I know. I hate seeing you in pain, but this opportunity means so much to me. It's everything I've worked for." "I understand that," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I just wish we didn't have to choose between your dreams and our relationship." We sat in silence for a while, holding each other and trying to find comfort in our closeness. Eventually, Vanessa fell asleep, her head resting on my shoulder. I stared out the window, my mind racing with thoughts of what the future might hold. The following weeks were a whirlwind of emotions. Vanessa continued to excel at her job, and the possibility of her promotion and move to Los Angeles became more real with each passing day. I tried to be supportive, but the growing distance between us was palpable. She was often preoccupied, and I couldn't help but feel that she was already halfway out the door. One Friday night, Vanessa had a late meeting with her boss to discuss the details of her potential move. I waited for her at a nearby bar, nursing a drink and trying to calm my nerves. When she finally arrived, she looked exhausted, but determined. "How did it go?" I asked, trying to read her expression. "It went well," she said, taking a seat next to me. "They're offering me the position. It's official. I'm moving to Los Angeles in 2 months. My heart sank. "So that's it then? You're really going?" She nodded, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Yes. I'm sorry, Jake. I don't want to leave you, but I can't turn this down." I took a deep breath, trying to keep my emotions in check. "I understand. I just wish things were different." "So do I," she whispered, her voice breaking. "But I'll always cherish what we have. You mean so much to me." We spent the rest of the evening talking about our future, trying to figure out how to make a long-distance relationship work. But deep down, I knew it would be incredibly difficult. The thought of Vanessa building a new life across the country without me was unbearable. As the weeks went by, we made the most of our remaining time together. We continued to explore the city, going on new adventures and creating memories that we hoped would sustain us through the separation. But the closer we got to her departure date, the more strained our relationship became. It was as if we were trying to hold on to something that was slipping away, and the harder we tried, the more it seemed to elude us. On Vanessa's last night in New York, we had a quiet dinner at her apartment. We reminisced about our time together, recalling all the fun and exciting moments we had shared. It was a bittersweet evening, filled with laughter and tears. As we said our goodbyes, I felt a deep sense of loss, knowing that our relationship would never be the same. Watching Vanessa walk through the airport security gate, I felt a mix of pride and heartbreak. She was following her dreams, but it felt like my world was crumbling. As I left the airport and headed back to my empty apartment, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was the beginning of the end for us. Our love had been intense and passionate, but now it faced the ultimate test: distance and time. Only the future would tell if we could overcome these challenges and find our way back to each other. As Vanessa settled into her new life in Los Angeles, I tried to adjust to mine without her in New York. The city, once filled with excitement and possibilities, now seemed a bit dull and empty. I threw myself into work, hoping to fill the void left by her absence. My business was growing, and I found solace in the busy days and the constant demands that kept my mind occupied. A few months after Vanessa moved, I received news about an important business trip to San Francisco. It was a fantastic opportunity to meet with potential clients and expand my network. The trip would last 2 weeks, and I saw it as a chance to not only grow my business, but also to clear my head and gain some perspective on my relationship with Vanessa. I called Vanessa to tell her about the trip. Her voice, though warm, seemed to carry a distance that matched the miles between us. "Jake, that sounds amazing," she said. "San Francisco is such a beautiful city. You'll love it." "Yeah, I'm looking forward to it," I replied. "It'll be a nice change of pace. Maybe I can swing by LA for a weekend and see you?" There was a slight hesitation on her end. "I'd love that, Jake, but things have been pretty hectic here with the new job. Let's play it by ear, okay?" I understood, but the sense of disconnection stung. We had managed to keep in touch through frequent video calls and texts, but something had shifted. Her life in LA seemed to be taking her further away from me, not just geographically, but emotionally. The night before my trip, I stayed over at her apartment, a place now filled with her presence but absent of our shared moments. We reminisced about our adventures and laughed about the little things that had bonded us. As we lay in bed, Vanessa turned to me, her eyes reflecting a mix of sadness and determination. "Jake, I know this long-distance thing has been hard," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I want you to know that I still care about you deeply. It's just, everything here is so overwhelming, and I'm trying to find my footing." "I understand, Vanessa," I replied, holding her close. "I miss you every day, but I want you to succeed. We'll figure this out, okay?" She nodded, but I could sense her uncertainty. We fell asleep wrapped in each other's arms, clinging to the familiarity and comfort of our connection. The next morning, I left for San Francisco. The trip was a whirlwind of meetings, presentations, and networking events. The city was as vibrant and beautiful as I had imagined, and the professional opportunities were immense. I immersed myself in work, enjoying the challenge and the new experiences. However, in the quiet moments, my thoughts drifted back to Vanessa and the growing distance between us. One evening, after a particularly successful day, I decided to call her. It was late, and I knew she might be busy, but I needed to hear her voice. She answered after a few rings, sounding slightly out of breath. "Hey Jake, how's San Francisco?" "It's great. I had a really productive day. Just wanted to hear your voice before I call it a night." "That's sweet. I'm glad things are going well for you." There was a brief silence, filled with the unspoken words and the miles between us. I wanted to tell her how much I missed her, how her absence was a constant ache in my heart. But instead, I asked about her day, and she told me about a new project she was excited about. We chatted for a while, but it felt like we were merely going through the motions, trying to bridge a gap that seemed to widen with each passing day. As the trip neared its end, I made one last attempt to see Vanessa. I called her again, hoping she might have a free weekend. "Vanessa, my trip's almost over. I'd really like to come to LA for a couple of days before heading back to New York." There was a long pause. "Jake, I wish I could, but this weekend is crazy. I have back-to-back meetings and a gallery event. I'm really sorry." I tried to hide my disappointment. "It's okay. I understand. We'll catch up soon." "Yeah, we will. Take care, Jake." I ended the call, feeling a sense of finality. The reality of our situation was hitting hard. Vanessa's life in LA was moving forward, and I felt like I was stuck in the past, clinging to memories of what we once had. Returning to New York, I was greeted by the familiar hustle and bustle of the city, but everything seemed different. I threw myself back into work, trying to distract myself from the growing void. Vanessa and I continued to communicate, but our conversations became less frequent and more strained. It was as if we were both trying to hold on to something that was slipping away, despite our best efforts. Then came the night that changed everything. After a long day at work, I decided to visit Vanessa's apartment to surprise her with her favorite dessert. I texted her that I would be over around 9:30 p.m., hoping to catch her at home. As I pulled up to her building, I saw a man walking out of her front door. My heart sank, and a wave of nausea hit me. The man looked casual and familiar with his surroundings, as if he had been there many times before. I drove away, my mind racing with thoughts and emotions. That night I barely slept, replaying the scene over and over in my head. The next morning, I woke up to multiple missed calls and texts from Vanessa, but I ignored them. I needed time to process what I had seen. Finally, I texted her, "What do you want?" She called me instantly, her voice filled with concern and desperation. Jake, please talk to me. What's going on? Who was that man who walked out of your apartment last night? I asked, my voice shaking. She stumbled over her words, offering flimsy excuses that only fueled my anger. He's just a friend, Jake. You're overreacting. A friend? Really? At 9:30 at night? I felt my anger rising. You've been lying to me, Vanessa. I thought we had something real. She started to cry, her defenses crumbling. Jake, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. I was lonely and things just got out of hand. I felt a wave of betrayal and sadness wash over me. You're soulless, cold-hearted, and the devil. You've been seeing him while I was away, haven't you? She didn't deny it. The silence on the other end of the line confirmed my worst fears. Yes, she whispered. But it didn't mean anything. I was just lost. Well, you're out of my life forever, I said, my voice cold. Don't ever contact me again. I hung up and immediately blocked her number, social media accounts, and anything else that connected us. I was done. The woman I had fallen in love with had betrayed me, and I couldn't see any way to repair the damage. For the next week, I leaned heavily on my friends and family, trying to pull myself out of the dark hole of despair. Just as I began to find my footing, I received a text from an unknown number. It was a video of Vanessa and the man she had been seeing, and it shattered what little progress I had made. I felt an overwhelming sense of rage and helplessness. The only thing that stopped me from seeking revenge was the realization that it would only harm me further. With the support of my loved ones and my therapist, I slowly began to heal. The process was painful and filled with moments of doubt and anger, but I knew I had to move on. I focused on my business and started preparing for my first bodybuilding show, channeling my energy into something positive. As time passed, I realized that Vanessa's betrayal had changed me. It had made me stronger, more resilient, and more determined to succeed. I was thriving in my career and growing in ways I never thought possible. Yet, the desire for a genuine, supportive relationship remained. I knew it would take time to trust again, but I was hopeful that one day I would find someone who truly valued and respected me. For now, I was content with the progress I had made and the person I was becoming. Life had thrown me a curveball, but I had emerged stronger and more determined than ever. And while the scars of betrayal would always be there, they served as a reminder of my strength and resilience. After my return from the business trip, things between Vanessa and me became increasingly strained. Her once vibrant and attentive demeanor seemed to shift, and she often appeared preoccupied and distant. She claimed to be overwhelmed with work and frequently had late-night shifts or social engagements with friends. I tried to be understanding, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Our time together dwindled to sporadic meetings, and I noticed she stayed home more often, citing exhaustion. My suspicions grew, but I tried to push them aside, not wanting to jump to conclusions. However, the nagging doubt gnawed at me, making it hard to ignore. One evening after a workout session with my cousin, I decided to surprise Vanessa by visiting her apartment unannounced. I texted her saying I'd be over around 9:30 p.m. When I arrived, I parked outside and idly scrolled through Instagram, trying to calm my nerves. Then, to my horror, I saw a man exit her apartment. My heart sank. The next morning, I woke up to numerous missed calls and messages from Vanessa. I texted her back, asking what she wanted. She called immediately, but the conversation was a disaster. I asked her about the man, and she stumbled through a series of weak excuses. Eventually, the truth came out. She had been seeing him while I was away. Furious and heartbroken, I cut all ties with her. I blocked her number and her social media accounts, determined to move on. The following week was a blur of anger and sadness, but with support from my friends, family, and therapist, I began to heal. Just as I started to feel like myself again, I received a text from the man Vanessa had been seeing. It was a video of them together, meant to hurt me even more. Though it devastated me, I realized that seeking revenge would only harm me further. I focused on my recovery, channeling my energy into my business, and preparing for my first bodybuilding show. Vanessa's betrayal changed me. It made me stronger and more resilient. While I was thriving in my career and personal growth, I still longed for a genuine, supportive relationship. Trust would take time to rebuild, but I remained hopeful. The scars of betrayal were a reminder of my strength, and I knew I was on a path to a brighter future. The days that followed Vanessa's betrayal were some of the darkest I had ever faced. I felt lost and adrift, my trust shattered, and my heart heavy with a sense of profound betrayal. Yet, with the unwavering support of my friends, family, and therapist, I began the slow and painful process of healing. I threw myself into my work, focusing on growing my business. The distraction was welcome, and the sense of accomplishment gave me something positive to hold on to. I also intensified my preparations for my first bodybuilding show, finding solace and strength in the discipline and physical exertion. Each workout became a testament to my resilience and determination to overcome the emotional turmoil. Despite the progress I was making, thoughts of Vanessa continued to haunt me. I would often replay our conversations and try to understand where things had gone wrong. The video that the other man had sent remained a dark cloud over my mind, but I refused to let it define me. I had to remind myself daily that my worth was not tied to her actions. Months passed, and slowly but surely, I began to feel more like myself. I found joy in small victories, a successful business deal, a personal best in the gym, or a quiet evening with friends. I started to rebuild my self-esteem and confidence, realizing that I was stronger than I had ever imagined. As I worked on my personal growth, I also began to reassess what I wanted in a relationship. Vanessa's betrayal had left me wary and guarded, but it had also clarified my values and what I sought in a partner. I wanted someone who was genuine, supportive, and trustworthy, someone who would stand by me through thick and thin. One day, while attending a networking event for my business, I met Emily. She was a marketing executive, smart and kind, with a warm smile that instantly put me at ease. We hit it off, and our conversations flowed effortlessly. There was an authenticity about her that I found refreshing. Emily and I started seeing each other more frequently, and over time, she became a significant part of my life. She understood my past and the pain I had endured, offering me the support and companionship I had longed for. With her, I felt a sense of peace and stability that had been missing for so long. As our relationship blossomed, I continued to thrive in my career and personal endeavors. I competed in my first bodybuilding show, achieving a milestone I had worked so hard for. It was a moment of triumph, not just for the competition, but for everything I had overcome to get there. Looking back, Vanessa's betrayal had been a turning point in my life. It had been a painful and harsh lesson, but it had also been the catalyst for my growth and transformation. I had emerged stronger, more self-assured, and ready to embrace the future. With Emily by my side and a renewed sense of purpose, I knew that I was on the right path. The scars from the past would always be there, but they served as a reminder of my resilience and the journey I had undertaken to become the person I am today. And for that, I was grateful. As my relationship with Emily grew stronger, I noticed a change in myself. I was happier, more confident, and more at peace with my past. Emily's kindness and understanding helped me heal the wounds left by Vanessa's betrayal. We shared many wonderful moments together, from quiet dinners at home to spontaneous weekend getaways. For the first time in a long while, I felt truly content. Then one evening, as I was wrapping up a busy day at work, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Curiosity got the better of me, and I opened it. It was Vanessa. Her message was short but filled with emotion. "Jake, I know I have no right to ask this, but can we talk? There's so much I need to say. Please." My initial reaction was a mix of anger and confusion. Why was she reaching out now, after everything that had happened? I debated whether to respond, but eventually I decided to hear her out. We agreed to meet at a quiet cafe the next day. When I arrived, Vanessa was already there, looking nervous and a bit worn out. It was a stark contrast to the confident and vibrant woman I once knew. She stood up as I approached, offering a tentative smile. "Hi, Jake. Thanks for coming," she said softly. I nodded, taking a seat across from her. "What do you want to talk about, Vanessa?" She took a deep breath, her eyes reflecting a mixture of regret and sorrow. "Jake, I've been doing a lot of thinking. What I did to you was unforgivable, and I'm so sorry for the pain I caused. I was selfish, and didn't realize what I had until it was too late." Her words hung in the air, and I could see the sincerity in her eyes. But the pain she caused me was still fresh, and I struggled to find the right words. "Vanessa, you hurt me deeply. I trusted you, and you betrayed that trust. It took me a long time to recover from what you did," I said, my voice steady but firm. She nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. I know, and I don't expect you to forgive me. I just needed to tell you how sorry I am. I've been trying to move on, but I can't stop thinking about you and the life we could have had. Her confession stirred a mix of emotions within me. Part of me felt sorry for her, but another part remembered the pain and heartbreak. Vanessa, I've moved on. I'm in a better place now, and I found someone who truly values and respects me. Emily has been a source of strength and happiness that I never knew I needed. Vanessa's face fell, but she managed a sad smile. I'm happy for you, Jake. You deserve to be with someone who loves you the way you deserve. I just wanted you to know that I'm truly sorry and that I regret everything I did. I nodded, appreciating her honesty. Thank you for saying that. I hope you find happiness and peace as well. We parted ways, and as I walked away, I felt a sense of closure. Vanessa's apology, while late, gave me the final piece of the puzzle I needed to fully move on. I returned home to Emily, feeling lighter and more at ease. When I told Emily about the meeting, she listened patiently, her hand resting on mine. I'm glad you got the closure you needed, Jake. You deserve to be happy, and I'm here for you. Emily's support and understanding reinforced my belief that I had found someone special. Our relationship continued to flourish, and I felt grateful every day for the love and stability we shared. Vanessa's regret had been a reminder of the pain of the past, but it also underscored the strength and resilience I had gained. With Emily by my side and a bright future ahead, I knew that I had truly moved on and that the best was yet to come. As the months passed, my life with Emily continued to blossom. She became not only my partner, but also my confidant and best friend. Together, we built a life filled with joy, understanding, and mutual respect. The darkness of my past with Vanessa faded into the background, replaced by the warmth and light of my present with Emily. One sunny afternoon, Emily and I decided to take a day trip to a nearby beach. It was a perfect escape from the city, with golden sands and the gentle sound of waves crashing against the shore. We spent the day walking along the beach, collecting seashells, and talking about our dreams for the future. As we sat on a blanket, watching the sunset over the horizon, Emily turned to me, her eyes sparkling with happiness. Jake, I feel like I found my home with you. I can't imagine my life without you. Her words touched me deeply, and I felt a surge of gratitude for the love we shared. Emily, you've brought so much joy and peace into my life. I'm so thankful for you. We held each other close, basking in the moment. It was in these simple, quiet times that I realized how lucky I was to have found someone who truly understood and supported me. One evening, as we were preparing dinner together, Emily paused and looked at me with a thoughtful expression. Jake, have you ever thought about the future? About us? I smiled, setting down the knife I was using to chop vegetables. All the time. I see a future filled with love, adventure, and growth. I want to build a life with you, Emily. Her eyes filled with emotion. I want that too, Jake, more than anything. As we stood there in our cozy kitchen, I knew that the time had come to take our relationship to the next level. I started planning a special way to propose to Emily, wanting to create a memory that we would cherish forever. A few weeks later, on a crisp autumn day, I took Emily to the rooftop restaurant where we had our first date. The cityscape was bathed in a warm golden glow, and the ambiance was perfect. After a delicious meal, I led her to the edge of the rooftop where we had once stood, dreaming about our future. Emily, I began, taking her hands in mine. From the moment I met you, you've brought light and happiness into my life. You've been my rock, my inspiration, and my partner in every way. I can't imagine my life without you, and I don't want to. She looked at me, her eyes wide with anticipation. Jake, I feel the same way. I took a deep breath, feeling my heart race with excitement. Emily, will you marry me? Her face lit up with joy and tears of happiness filled her eyes. Yes, Jake, 1,000 times yes. I slipped the ring onto her finger and we embraced, feeling a sense of completeness and overwhelming love. The other diners clapped and cheered, adding to the magic of the moment. As we stood there holding each other, I knew that this was the beginning of a beautiful new chapter in our lives. Our engagement was met with joy and excitement from our friends and family. We began planning our wedding, eager to celebrate our love with the people who meant the most to us. The months leading up to the wedding were a whirlwind of preparations. But through it all, Emily and I grew even closer. On a sunny spring day, surrounded by loved ones, we exchanged our vows. The ceremony was simple, yet deeply meaningful, reflecting our journey together and the love that had brought us to this moment. As we said our I do's and shared our first kiss as husband and wife, I felt a profound sense of gratitude and joy. The reception was a joyful celebration, filled with laughter, dancing, and heartfelt speeches. Emily and I couldn't stop smiling, reveling in the love and support of our friends and family. It was a day that marked the culmination of our journey and the beginning of a new adventure together. As we embarked on our honeymoon, exploring new places and creating memories, I reflected on how far I had come. The pain and betrayal of the past were distant memories, overshadowed by the love and happiness I had found with Emily. She had shown me that true love was possible, and that the future was bright and filled with endless possibilities. In the years that followed, Emily and I built a life together that was rich with love, laughter, and shared dreams. We supported each other through the ups and downs, always finding strength in our partnership. Our home was filled with warmth and joy, a testament to the love that had brought us together. Through it all, I never forgot the lessons I had learned. The scars of the past served as a reminder of my strength and resilience, and the journey I had undertaken to find true happiness. With Emily by my side, I knew that anything was possible. Together, we faced the future with hope, excitement, and a love that grew stronger with each passing day. And so, my story came full circle. What began with heartache and betrayal had transformed into a journey of healing, growth, and newfound love. Emily was my anchor, my partner, and my best friend, and with her, I had found the happiness and fulfillment I had always dreamed of. Our future was bright, and I couldn't wait to see where our journey would take us next.